Hey everyone, my name's Lucy. I'm part of the organizing team for the upcoming Void retreat with Lara here. So we just thought we'd jump on a call and talk about the retreat. Lara, do you want to begin by telling us what is happening or why you were inspired to create this retreat actually?
Well, it's a very vast question. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here. Um, I guess more than inspiration, it's like a deeper sense of listening and seeing what is true to me at the moment and what is needed to be transmitted in not only these times, but also in where I'm at with my path and what feels totally aligned. So it feels like bringing teachings, non-dual teachings into an embodied form feels that this is not only what is the most necessary for me at the moment as life becomes more and more chaotic and out of control, not only in my personal, but of course in the collective. But it feels like it is what is necessary in a collective plan. I mean, with COVID, with the war, with everything, like with points of tension that we're going to go more and more and more over and over again. I feel like the only way out of this tension is not to meet any duality within us or taking opinions or a side of any questions, but is trying to find the point of collapse in any kind of duality, in any kind of opinion, is trying to find this point inside of us of inner spaciousness that allow us to actually let any confrontation dies within oneself, but also in a group, so that actually what life wants to reveal through us can actually emerge from the space that we have created, from the space that we have allowed. So doing this retreat, and actually who knows also if this retreat is going to happen, but actually the seed of this retreat has emerged, we can say, from ashes. It was not supposed to be there. We were sitting, the three of us, around that empty center and trying to listen to things how they wanted to come in. So it is challenging in many ways even to bring that work, because that work is a work of dissolution, is a work of allowing a process of death to be seen and sacred and reintegrated as an inherent part of this life. And so it is mostly not appealing for many people that are constantly in denial of that reality moment to moment. Because in order to create that space, you are needing to let die anything within you that is trying to control a certain reality or a certain aspect of how you would like life to go. So I know that is not a comfortable place to sit in, because I constantly have to remind myself to stay in those spaces and to ride that wave of terror that is in between me and that spaciousness. But yeah, so somehow it's like, I know it's not the most juicy work, and especially for people who have known me before in more juicy work, in Dancing Heroes or other containers where we work more with eros and seduction and playfulness. Now I feel like I'm bringing something that comes straight from my core to the core of humanity and to the core of people that respond to that call. And somehow, no matter if it's in this retreat or in any other life experience that will bring you there is no choice. Like, this is the direction. And if you resist to this, everything's going to become painful, not only the way that you live this life, but also the moment that you're going to die. So hi. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say actually how much this work is needed more and more. I feel like we were very much forced into this through COVID, with not having to being able to make plans or be able to plan or do anything like this. We were forced to be present, which created so much instability in so many people. And now with this war that's going on in Europe. Like I was even chatting to Yannick about that today, my husband, and what the uncertainty that this is yet again bringing about what's going to happen in our future, and how much this we're needing to drop more and more into this unknown, because it could be quite a ride.
And it has always been like this. It's just like we had structures, and I feel like the reflection of what's going on out there in the world is a beautiful image of what has been always living inside of us, you know, and the way that we structure ourselves as personality interacting with the world in an illusion of duality with others or with the earth or with the universe. So it is a reflection of that, but it feels like in those times of so much tension, the illusion of having everything under control by having so many structures and societies and everything that defines reality as it comes, it's starting to demental. And so there's no way anymore to grasp kind of certainty in a political system, in an economical system, or in an emotional system, or anything, you know, or healthcare system, anything that used to provide a certain sense of certainty, and no matter if you like it or dislike it, is actually crawling apart. And so it's the same thing in us, like on a day-to-day basis. It's like we use control mechanisms that we all have predefined because of our lifetime of experiences, our conditioning, and all those mechanisms of controlling will eventually be demented. Also, the more you come closer to the source, like we call this retreat void. So what is the void? Like the void is this nothingness. It's like the core of this everythingness. So it's a place in which everything's collapse and dissolve. So it's the center of every of our cells in the body, but also the center of the universe, like the black hole of the universe. So it's where everything is eaten back to nothingness. So this place is constantly here, everywhere. Like I said, it's at the core of our cells. It's at the core of our life. It's the principle of oneness that lives, and for what we long for and that we pray for. But it's the same thing. It's like even in many religious paths, it's like you pray for oneness, you long for oneness until you're confronted to it and you're at the door of it and you're shitting scared, because it really definitely feels like you are dying. You're going to a place where you cannot return anymore. You know, so it's like, how do we live with the tension of being on the edge, on the event horizon of that falling through that mystery, of actually really giving all of us into that mystery, to the point that nothing of us as individual person, as individual self, is left anymore. And this is terrifying. But also in saying that, it's not only how do we kill ourselves, because many people will interpret that into a despair journey of actually having a fit into this reality and another one into a dual reality that doesn't match that. And so many people will actually take their life off, you know, because it becomes so unbearable to actually be into that in-between state. Or like me, even though I've tried when I was younger to take my life, what I've been also going through a lot during my years of seeking, of questing for this mystical path, has been to actually leaving this reality to go and take refuge into this oneness, and so in so many different ways. But that made me disconnect from this life, from this body, from those relationships. And so for me, it has been a matter of bridging that that place that I can call home, and that we can all actually call home somehow, somewhere within ourselves, that place that we want to come back to, but that we fear the most to come back into. So for me, it has been how to bridge that and bring it forth through my personality, through this body, through my soul purpose, through my mission. So it's like, how do I not leave anything in between? So taking that journey, and I guess I want to also reassure anyone that feels the call, but it's like, oh my God, are we gonna be completely out of a sense of self at the end of that retreat? Hopefully not, hopefully like there is a place that is shaken enough so that you can surrender the places in you that wants to control. But hopefully there is enough presence and awareness along the journey so that actually you can bring forth everything step by step, so that nothing is left in between. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Lucy also, and I feel that there is actually no other way than to go in these times, and to feel really safe in the body. So there are certainly some keys or the gateways. How do we get there? Could you talk about it? Those. What do we use? What
In the retreat, you mean? What are we going to use in the retreat in order to get there? So, as you hear me speaking, you might understand that actually anything that that has a form is like somehow in that place of the void, in that place of inner stillness and spaciousness, everything is formlessness. So there's no form anymore. So any practice can support your awareness to stay present while you go through that wave, but none of the practice will lead you there. So it's not the practice that will make you able to open yourself enough so that you include the everythingness and the nothingness within you. But those practices can support or give an embodied imprint of what does it feel. But ultimately, the only thing and the only, I would say that the only thing that can allow you to stay present in the void is your will. It's your will to stay awake at the moment that you're going to be confronted with the terror of letting go of anything. So this willingness cannot be, introduced or offered by anything. But thank you for asking the question anyway, Lucy, because I feel like, we've been very vague, and it's really hard not to be vague when we speak about that principle, because it's just a principle. So it's difficult to introduce that with words, and also to create practices around that. So we're gonna still use two main practices that I've encountered along my path, and that I believe have been the most the closest in their form of that concept of total merging and of total inclusion of every part of this universe at once. And so those two practices we're going to use is one nonlinear meditation movement called Tandava, that is an embodied practice that you do by yourself, and that will give a reference point to the body, because it's more easy to have a reference of this through the embodiment practice, because you're gonna realize when your body is trying to control the movement, when it's gonna do the movement. You're gonna go through the different challenges, but through a practice. So somehow the fact that you can put your gaze onto a practice and not onto something that has no form will help you to bridge between the gaps, because otherwise I can speak about that concept and you might understand something or feel something, but it is difficult to have a gaze upon what I'm speaking about. So that practice that we're going to do twice a day will be a tremendous support to the essence of this work. And then the second practice that we're going to use along this week is called the yoga of touch, or also Kashmir massage in many other ways. And this is also a way to come together, so that to touch each other, but from a place of becoming this principle. So that's going to be introduced later during the week. while waiting for us to have already had an embodied experience of this oneness within a self. But then the idea is to move and touch from a place of non-duality with oneself, so that when two people or three or four people come together, it becomes just one single body touching itself, like being in itself. Yeah? And of course, like those are the two main principles, the two main practices that we're going to use. But we will also see what emerge from the space we create. So it's not that the retreat is as like a schedule that is totally already sorted and that we know minute to minute what we're going to do. Actually, not at all. It's a retreat not only that came out of this deeper listening and of this nothingness with all its challenges, but it's also a retreat that has, okay, those two practices and a lot of space in between, so that we can all as a group also start listening and see what is emerging and where that's going to lead us as a group. So everything is going to be offered here for this. And also the land that is hosting us, which I've never been yet. So, it's like, it's just a feeling, an embodied feeling of Finland and of the forest and of the lake and all those actors of nature that, to me, when I feel into spacious lands, I see the northern countries of Europe, or the United States or New Zealand or so as it's like, but in Europe, I feel into the Nordic lands. So I feel like the land is going to also support that imprint. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It makes me really excited hearing you talk about these practices. So just a little bit of background, the three of us have worked together with Dancing Eros when Lara was teaching Dancing Eros, and Lucy and I both organized different Dancing Eros events, which is a very different flavor to what we're going into this time. And there's been like many challenges for me personally, and I've had massive initiations into this essence of the void just since we've been starting to weave this container together. When Lara brought us back together, it was the intention that we'd create a Dancing Eros or see what goes from there. But when we listened, that wasn't what was really there. So then it turned into going to this void piece, which I didn't realize I'd experienced in my life, but I had in different forms, except just by being in this container for probably 2 months now, I think 2 or 3 months. It's really brought a sort of clarity through my entire life in that what is really actually aligned, what I'm actually truly desiring. And as a consequence, things are falling away and I'm experiencing much more restfulness in my body and less stress and less anxiety. And it's like this kind of layer of ease that's coming over. The biggest challenge is obviously like letting go of things that my ego was attached to, or a part of my ego of like trying to prove or doing things that I should, except the reality is I don't want those things in my life anyway. So it's a very positive thing that I'm seeing all this. Yeah, so it's like a beautiful unfolding as we go. So I'm really excited to see what reveals itself up until the retreat. There's still some time, and then at the retreat.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your experience of it. And I know that you two haven't yet. It's like I've offered few of those retreats, like to a different level. I feel like it's just actually in evolving towards, like, it's like something that doesn't like to be in one form anyway. So it's like, as every time I'm offering this, it takes a different form. And I know that you two haven't been in a container with me of that of that essence, that quality. So I loved the trust that happened there, and I trusted also that we were the three of us sitting around a dark point of letting emerging what wanting to come, and yeah, I'm certainly excited to have had this process, the three of us, and seeing what reveals from there. Yeah.
And I'm certainly even more excited and curious to see how the retreat itself will unfold with the beings that feel resonance with. So yeah, for we coming to an end to this transmission, and I want to welcome any of your question or comment or anything that rise from listening to those words. Yeah, feel free to reach out to me or to the Lucys, and I hope we will see you soon. We will just add to this discussion. At the end of this discussion, we'll have the little movie that actually Antoine, my partner, has made for us for this retreat, as it really offers an imprint or a sense of this essence of spaciousness. So if you haven't watched it yet, you will find it added to this discussion, so that you receive a feeling of it. Sometimes it says more than any words. So I hope I'll see you soon. Thank you.